Hello, this is Abina at Cross Keys Crafts with the Visible Image Artist Trading Card Swap for April 2024, and the topic this month is Mellow Yellow. So we're allowed to use all kinds of yellow inks, paints. We're allowed to use black and white, but no orange, no gold. That is the rules this month. And obviously you can use any stamp you have, but I decided with that topic to use the golden daffodils. I thought this was really apt. I have used them before on an artist trading card, but this time I want to use them differently because I have already prepared my background. This was a little play I had off camera, but I'm going to show you what I did because these needed to dry. So as you can see, this is, by the way, is some cardstock. This is actually, I think, for sorting comics. I bought this ages ago to put my fabric around this because it's really smooth on one side, so it's not good for paper crafting, but it's quite sturdy. But the back is matte. And what I did was, you can see I've got two different sort of textures there. One is a bit lighter and has got some specks, and this is a bit more solid. Because what I did was I used these two pearl paints, they're called. I bought these in Germany, I think, and they're a bit like Nouveau drops, and I just squeezed them onto the cardstock just like this, and I'll mix this one in. I think I had a bit more of the more yellow one because this one is a bit orange, and I was a bit worried about this not really matching the theme. And then I just place the other piece on top and squash this. So you can also move it around a little bit, making sure you don't have any white spaces. Obviously I worked on a bigger scale. And when you pick it up, it's got this sort of texture like almost like veins, and I was a bit worried about not being able to stamp on that. And then I did something really silly. I put the two panels through my die cutting machine, and obviously what happened was when I got to the end, the whole paint squeezed out. And yeah, I was lucky I was still in my die cutting plate, so most of it ended up on there. I had a bit on my roller, but I think I could remove it whilst it was still damp, so don't do that. But I suppose you could use a brayer on top if you wanted to, or just move it about like this if you don't want this texture, or go over it afterwards with your fingers. You can smooth this out if you wanted to, and then you're left behind with this sort of shiny and smoother texture. But this obviously, it needs to dry a few hours at least, but I'll let mine dry overnight. But that's a little idea if you've got tons of these drops, how to use them. And obviously I think with mine I even mixed it a bit more before I pressed it down, because you can see this is quite sort of a golden orange. I didn't really want that, but yeah, this is what I did with these. But because this one was so light and almost in like a pastel color, I put a bit more of this on and just squashed it down again to get this texture, although I might actually be using the darker one. This, by the way, is the edge where it's squeezed out. So yeah, so that's an idea to get a different background for your texture. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, I haven't tried this, whether now my VersaFine will actually dry on this or whether I have to use some stays on. I think I quickly test this off camera. I won't bore you with this, but I will show you the results. So I think I will just cut a little bit off here and have a trial run. So the answer to my question is the VersaFine Black Onyx works great on that pearlescent card. It doesn't smear, it dries quite quickly, so that's fine to use. I don't need to use any stays on. So I've quickly cut my ATC to size off camera, so that is now 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And I have decided to use the bigger daffodil stamp on here, and I had a little play with the acetate here so that I know where to place this. I might even just had a thought whether, yeah, it'd probably be better doing it this way around. I think the last ATC I made with this stamp, I did it this way around, and then you lose a bit on either of the flowers, but if I do it this way around, they will actually fit perfectly. So I'll do that, and I definitely want a bit of a sentiment down there, something to fill the space, but let me just think, or whether I put it lower and then have space for the sentiment up there. It's doable. No, I think I'll leave it like this. I'm not quite sure what the regulations say about having it sideways. I think all of them are this way around, so no, I'll have to do it like this. But as I said, I will leave a bit of space on the top for the sentiment. I've got the Sending Sunshine, which I like, but I've also got the other words here, go-to words, I think these are, but no, they're not really apt here. Get well soon, best wishes maybe, that would work nicely. I'll have a think about that. So I'm not using my stamping platform. I will actually just use my acrylic block. Reason being is this will be tricky to put in there on the my words are missing me tonight. On with the magnets is always a bit tricky. I just get some scrap paper because I will obviously be stamping off this cardstock here. So I'm inking this up just at the top. I don't need the bottom. Making sure I've got plenty of ink on there. And then hopefully without dropping it, I can hover it above here. As I said, I'll move it down a bit so I've got space for the sentiment there. And I think, still undecided. I like this bigger one more, and I can cut the other one off. So placing it down there and then just applying a little bit of pressure. Giving a bit of time to settle on that pearlescent ink. But even sit on there so that I can apply a bit of pressure from this side without moving it. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. But I'm leaving that to dry for a moment because the VersaFine generally is a bit, takes a bit longer to dry anyway. So I'll just leave that there. And in the meantime, I will create a card base, and I have cut the offcuts here to some squares that are 2 inches by 2 inches. So I want to do like a spotlight technique, so I will show you in a moment what I mean by that. For the main card, I will use my stamping platform because I want to stamp it twice. But because I've already got ink on here and I don't want to wash it in between, I'm just placing some acetate here, just some plastic wrapper from a stamp on here. So when I lay this down now to position it, I don't have the problem that the ink goes onto my card base. So here obviously I've got lots of space, so I think this is what's fine. This is probably hitting my camera now. Yes, it is. Sorry about that. I have to lift that up. Nope. There we go. Sorry about that. So, and I can now remove the plastic here and ink this up as normal. So, and again, I'm using just my VersaFine. bit more pressure at the top here. Yeah, I might have to ink that up again. I find with the Tim Holtz platform, sometimes I don't get the best results with that. But my little one is just occupied with other stamps I used the other day. Yeah, that's fine now. So I don't want to move this, because now I want to place these on here. And my idea was to have them either placed like this. So put this a little bit to the top. Contemplating whether I need to cut them a little bit smaller, because obviously this is a 6x4 piece of cardstock, so they will actually just about sit on there, but I think that's fine. So I'm just thinking how I want to do this, whether I want to protect these pieces before I have any sort of double stamping on there. I might actually, I'll tell you what I do, I will put a protective sheet on top here, but so same size, so I can still see where I need to place these. I'll quickly do this off camera again. Okay, so I had a better idea. Rather than using cardstock, I used the packaging again, and I like this over here, and that also allowed me to stick these down just with some Stick It Removable, which is really flat, so that should work nicely now. This, by the way, is the darker background that I used for the ATC, and these are cut from the lighter ones, so I just spread these out. So I'm just inking up my Stampy again on the side. And my idea is now when I stamp this, that I will stamp, yeah, this is really off the edge there, but it doesn't matter. I could put a sentiment on there as well. So this is even more important now, to apply plenty of pressure. So just checking those. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm leaving this to dry now, and then I'll come back to the ATC. So this is my ATC. I have stamped the sentiment here on the top, sending sunshine, and it is a bit boring, obviously, and because we're a bit limited to the colours, I thought I have to introduce a different paint. And at first I thought my alcohol markers. Problem is, alcohol markers dissolve the VersaFine, so if I had stamped and StazOn, I could use some alcohol markers on this. But one thing I can use is my Artistro glitter pens, and this is what I will do. I've already tried it here on the side, so I can use these now to colour the flowers in. I have to be a bit mindful of the black lines, because they will disappear under this pen, but I can colour this in. It looks a bit gold, but it is my yellow pen. So I'm just taking a bit off because it is a bit of too much ink there. Let's just colour it in like this. Let me just lift it up a little bit for you. Can you see? It's a bit wet still, but it's a lovely shine and lovely yellow. I will do this off camera now. I will just colour in the petals. I don't want to colour in the stalks. I'll just leave them as they are, I think, because, you know, we're not allowed to use any other colours. But I think this will give enough interest, and I might add a few drops of something, maybe even the drops I have used for the background. I really like the shine on this. It's still drying a bit there, but I think that's quite nice. I hope I don't get disqualified by it looking a bit like it's gold, but it is actually the my yellow pen. So I'm coming back in with my pearl paints, and I'm just putting some drops on here. I need to be a bit mindful. They are a bit temperamental, so just putting a few dots here and a few at the bottom. Just to take, the focus a bit away and sort of fill the card. So, and I've got a pen here, and I'm just tapping from underneath to flatten these out. I'm actually not quite sure, I'm just using my bum phone, I think, how well they flatten. I haven't used them in a while. They seem to be, see what I've done? I've just put my finger into that. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, not perfect. Sorry you had to listen to that. I probably will speed that up in the video or even cut it out. But I think I'll just continue doing that until they get a bit flatter. If you don't want to use pearl drops like that, obviously you might have some enamel dots that you could stick on. I don't think I have any of those. And I'm still contemplating whether I want something on the, well, potentially green bits here, whether I want to do something with that. I'll have a think about that. Well, we are allowed to use white, so I think I will just use my diamond stickles on the leaves there. These are really, really fine. It's got fine tips, so that should just be fine. And I think this will just add enough interest on these bits here. Because it needs some enhancing there. So I'll just show you this here. So I leave this now to dry. I'll tell you what, I'll colour that one in as well. So as I said, I'll leave this now to dry, and we'll show you how I continue with the main card. For the main card, I have glued my panel here onto a card base. I chose a yellow one as well. It's a bit of a darker yellow. And I think I forgot to mention, I also stamped the sentiment here. I didn't bother stamping the sentiment there. I think it fits perfectly there. Now, onto all these panels, I will put some foam pads. But so that it's easier for me to align them here, I will put some wet glue on these foam pads as well. The wet glue will then dry and will keep this in place. But it's just easier if I need to wriggle this a little bit, move this a little bit. It's difficult if I have got just the foam pads. So I'm going to place this over the top now. I'm watching certain parts of the stamp here. I can see where the stalk ends, and I know this has to be straight anyway, so I can place this down here. This should be in the perfect place there. And once I've got it in the right place, I can press it down. Obviously, you don't need to put this on foam pads if you don't want to, but I think with a bit of dimension, it actually helps with the effect. So I'm going to do the same with these two panels. This one sits a bit across here, I know that, and this one sits right at the bottom, and then this card will be finished. So here are my finished card and the not quite dry yet ATC. So I might place a photo in the end, at the end of the video, to show you what it looks like when it's dry. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. I hope the recipient will be pleased as well. And if you like this card and ATC, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.